And let me bring on Dr. Kojo Pumpuni Asante of the CDD, who is also a member of the Citizen Coalition. So far, 34 CSOs, civil society organizations. I've not seen this before. How many CSOs are left after 34 of them? And then there are a number of individuals, including Professor Kwame Karkari, Professor Techua Menu, Professor Kofi Abochi, Professor Edward Bokpeng, Martin Pebu, ignore myself, I'm there too, Akoto Ampao. Tell us, Kojo, what is this for? That CSOs will all come together in such times and seeking to pile so much pressure on, leaders who are already reeling under such economic circumstances. Your statement that you issued, 12-page statement, you talk about so many issues, including the management of the economy, and from the way things look, you guys may even be hitting the streets. Never heard of this in our country's history. What is the agenda here?
Yeah, good morning, Samson. Thanks for having me. Just let me make a quick comment about your earlier discussion. And I have to say that it is this same kind of frustration that has led us, here today. It was just frustrating and at some point, excuse me to say, irritating, just to hear the posturing of, government representatives talking about, this back and forth on this IMF. Some of the things that were being discussed, I thought, does not acknowledge the sensitivity that's needed, at this time. I mean, fuel is what, 12 cedis or so a liter. Food prices are going up.
14 is supposed to be.
People are struggling. So just a clear acknowledgement of the times. And you see that the challenge is that this is not just a flash in the pan. We are anticipating that in the next couple of years, we're going to have a very difficult time. So whatever it is we are doing with IMF, government cannot do it alone. It has to go with the people if we are going to be able to come through this well. So it's some of this frustration that led us to come together because we put a political arrangement in place. We put all these systems in place. And yet, the people we are relying on to serve our interests, to champion our welfare, constantly seem to serve themselves, constantly seem to do it with impunity, abuse the power, and just engage in pervasive corruption, wasting our money. And then we come back, it's almost what they call a boom and bust economy. And we've just come to the point that unfortunately, citizens have to do more. They have to step in to help correct, these sort of recurrent problems that we came to have with accountability and transparency and inclusiveness. A lot of the decisions that government continue to take is not inclusive. It seems like government exists for itself. And that cannot be the whole concept of democracy that delivers dividends. If we are being inclusive in terms of our e-levy, maybe there could have been a different way in which we pursue this, and we'll all be benefiting for it. So we are here because we want to change the culture of accountability in this country. It has to change, otherwise we won't get the benefits of democracy.
So for example, let's take one issue. What are you going to do? You have immediate demands, which include what you talk about, corruption and needless waste of public resources. But the issue, for example, that you talk about, the Auditor General not exercising the powers of disallowance and surcharges against people who are stealing and pilfering around the place. Occupy Ghana is part of this, is in this citizen coalition, correct?
Yes, right.
Occupy Ghana has been on this for years now. They got a law. Actually, they were the ones that drafted the original process after they won the case in the Supreme Court, and then they were invited to make input and then empower the Domelevo. And we know that Domelevo recovered in excess of 66 million Ghana cedis.
66 million, that's right.
Yes. Now, this Auditor General is simply not using it. Occupy Ghana is writing every day. What differently are you going to do? And what do you want government to do about that? He's an independent office. The president or whoever is not supposed to try dictate what he has to do.
Yes, and I think individuals have to be held accountable for their own actions. The power is within the Auditor General's hands. We don't think that this is a matter you have to be worried the president about. Yesterday, we also submitted a letter asking for a meeting next week, because there is no way, if a public officer deliberately decides to ignore the Constitution, even after a Supreme Court's decision, then there has to be an accountability problem. And if that is the case, that person is not fit to hold that office. So we are saying we want a meeting next week to understand what this problem is. We also know that over 10,000 people have not declared their assets and liabilities as is demanded by the Constitution. All these processes and mechanisms are put in place to prevent corruption, to make sure there's value for money, to make sure that the monies that we are contributing, our little monies, whether you are the market, you are paying tolls, you are doing this. In this year, we said we're going to raise as much as 80 billion. Now, if you raise 80 billion and then you waste it, you don't even find ways to make sure that people do not steal from it, then it's like we are wasting our time. We are going through all of these things. So what we are saying is that tomorrow we want a meeting next week with him for him to explain to us why this is becoming a problem. But the accountability culture has to start now. And if that doesn't happen, we will go and pick it. If we have to go to his office every afternoon so that we make noise enough for him to do his job, and if he's not going to do his job, then he has to leave.
You raise concerns about the reclassification of Achimota Forest, asking the president to revoke that process. You talk about Ejapa. You are also not happy, and you want an accounting for COVID funds, among other things. The defense minister is of the view that these kinds of agitations and the things that you seek to do, like the 4 teacher unions have started, the nurses too, if God doesn't, intervene, so to speak, and they don't get their COLA, then we're going to have more industrial action. He says this will lead to instability. It's not good. You don't have to be doing this at this time.
I completely disagree. Actually, this is the best time to do it, because we are not some mindless thugs out there who don't have the interests of our country at heart. Actually, we are committed patriots. We want to make sure that, when this IMF is gone, we are not back to the challenges. If we go and take IMF money and we are not ensuring that we are doing surcharges, we are not ensuring that we are accounting for COVID funds, we are not ensuring that we are transparent, we'll have the same problems and we'll go back to the IMF. So it is in our interest, and it's in government's interest also to be inclusive in the decisions that it is taking. We are all in it. This IMF problem and the challenges we're going to face for the next couple of years is going to affect all of us. So it's not some government, somebody sitting somewhere making a decision for themselves that is going to benefit. So I think that from a security perspective, and actually we want to even help in terms of the security perspective, because we feel that creating spaces like this for citizens to engage and discuss how do we move forward together is a better security measure than marginalizing people, having your way, imposing things on people. That is what is going to create instability.
Okay.
So I would encourage government to engage all these groups, create the opportunity for us to discuss so that we can work together to secure Ghana and make sure that we have that culture of accountability institutionalized.
Right.